Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to sit down and give you a little update on my menopause and post-menopause journey because this has been quite the journey for some time now. When I first started talking about menopause on this channel, I think I expected that eventually my hormones would balance out and I'd feel better, lose weight that I wanted to lose, and just be able to just move forward with life. But that's not exactly how things have gone. There have been a lot of ups and a lot of downs, also a lot of trial and error. And there have been times when I felt like my body was working against me. So I wanted to give you an update where I am now, what's been happening with my HRT, what I've been doing differently in regards to my eating and exercise, and also what's been happening in my mind and in my faith throughout this whole process. Because I'm realizing that this isn't just a physical battle for me, it's also a mental and spiritual one. One of the biggest challenges I've continued to deal with is breakthrough bleeding. I've been working with my doctor to find the right combination of hormones because finding the right HRT combination hasn't been as simple as I'd hoped it would be. I had been taking progesterone pills every day, but because I was continuing to have the bleeding, my doctor suggested that we try cycling the progesterone instead. The idea behind this was that changing the way I was taking the progesterone might help regulate things and hopefully stop the bleeding. So I did try it, and unfortunately, it didn't work for me. And at this point, the next option was an IUD. I actually talked to a friend about this before making the decision. She told me that she had not had a good experience with IUD and she ended up getting hers removed pretty soon afterwards. And that definitely made me consider it, made me pause a bit, but I also knew that everyone's experience was, going to be different. And I really felt like I needed to try something because I couldn't keep going through the same cycle of trying to manage the bleeding. So I decided to let someone else, not to let someone else experience, determine what I was going to do next. So I talked to my doctor, considered my options, and then I just went ahead and decided to try for myself. So I made the appointment and had the IUD inserted, and I'm telling you, that really was an experience. I wasn't expecting that after the insertion that I would start having cramps and nausea and whatnot. I actually had to sit there for a while before I felt comfortable enough to drive myself home. Eventually, I did feel better to drive, um, and I went home, took a nap, and when I woke up, I felt much better. So they did tell me that I'll be feeling like that, and then it would start to wear off. Over the next couple of days, the cramps continued to improve, and pretty soon I was feeling like myself again. So that was pretty good. My doctor also told me that I could experience more breakthrough bleeding for the next few months while my body gets used to the IUD. So right now I'm in that adjustment period and I'm trying to be patient and give my body a chance to adjust. I'm also reminding myself that this is a process. um, and I'm sharing this because I know that there are other women who are going through some of these similar things. And I also want to emphasize that I'm not saying that this is what you should do. This has just been my experience, and I'm just sharing um, what I was going through and my processes of helping myself feel better. Another thing that I had to rethink is exercise. Now, I love being active and all, and karate is a huge part of my life. And as my training has gotten more physically intense, I realized that I can't necessarily keep piling on workout upon workout on top of everything else. Um, there was a time when I probably would have just thought, oh, just, more exercise the better and just suck it up because, you've got things you're trying to do. If I was tired, I'd just probably tell myself I just needed to push harder. But I'm learning to listen to my body, and that doesn't mean that I'm lazy. Sometimes it just means I'm being smart. And also that means that maybe I can reduce injury. So I've cut back on some of the extra workouts that I've been doing immediately right before karate and then going into karate. And sometimes that just wears me out. Instead, I'm focusing on the physical therapy for my ankle. And really, that's been working out really well because I've been strengthening my lower body through PT, and I'm doing it on separate days in the mornings. So I'm still getting a really good workout there. And I'm not sitting around doing nothing. I'm just being more intentional about what my body actually needs right now. Another change that I've been making is with my food. I've been cutting back on the processed food, and also I've been trying not to eat real late at night. I realized that just how much that was affecting how I felt throughout the evening and the next day. So when I would eat late, I would go to bed feeling like I still had food sitting in my stomach, and I'd feel bloated at night. And then I'd wake up in the morning and still feel bloated, sluggish, and even just run down as if I didn't get any rest. So I had to make some changes with that. I really didn't like that feeling. So those minor changes, I think, has been helping. I'm just trying to be more intentional about what I'm eating and when I'm eating it. Since I've been feeling better, it's been really encouraging because sometimes we think that getting healthier requires doing something huge. Sometimes it just means doing some smaller things, or making some smaller goals, or reaching some smaller goals. Um, Eating a little better, not eating so late at night, getting enough rest, going to bed a few minutes earlier every night. Also knowing that when to push and when to back off. Those things do actually add up. Now, this is where things get a little deeper for me. I've realized that I needed to get a handle on my health because I have things that I just want to do in my life. I don't want to constantly feel tired and run down and feel like my body is preventing me from doing things that I really enjoy, or even the things that I'm supposed to be doing. I want to be able to do karate, stay active, like hiking, travel, just be creative, and just live my life. I know that if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to end up being limited, like, injuries, more injuries and whatnot, which I'm already trying to work through. And that's been a wake up call for me. Another concern is that I've lost weight, made changes, gotten healthier before. So I know that I can do that. But because my body has become so unpredictable throughout this menopause journey, there's been this fear in the back of my mind that I'm going to go back to my old habits. And I mean, right now I'm actually trying to break those habits, but that fear just keeps creeping up into my head. It's almost like I'm thinking, well, what if I lose the weight and then what if I gain it all back? What if I get disciplined and then my hormones throw everything off again? Another question I ask myself, what if I get tired and discouraged and go back to doing the things I know that aren't good for me? I've been thinking about the lies that we listen to in our minds also. And for me, there are times when I feel like the enemy is trying to use all of this to make me feel defeated and to make me think things like, see, you can't get healthy. Your body is working against you. You're always going to struggle with your weight. You're never going to feel like yourself again. Why are you even trying? And I have to recognize those thoughts for what they actually are, because I don't believe that God has called me to live defeated. Yes, menopause has brought challenges and my body has changed, and I've struggled with that. There are things that I can't control, but there are also things that I know that I can control. I know that I can make better choices. I can take care of my body. I can listen to the doctors and move my body in ways that are appropriate for me at certain times. Um, I can also make better choices with food. I can get enough rest. I can pray, and I can trust God, and I can just keep going. One thing that I've been reminding myself is that God has given me many tools that I can use to get through. I don't have to have everything figured out today or know exactly what the next 6 months is going to look like. I just need to take the next step. I'm capable of doing that. So maybe today the next step is making better food choice, or resting instead of pushing myself too hard, or getting into God's word, or simply just reminding myself that I'm not giving up. And I think that's where I am right now. I'm not giving up or going to allow a difficult season to convince me that my story is over. I think one of the biggest lessons that I'm learning through this season is that I can't fight my body all the time. I have to learn how to work with my body. My body is different than it was 10 or 20 years ago, and that's okay. I just may need more recovery. I may need to do things a little differently, modify my workouts even. I may need to make different food choices, which I'm already starting to do. I may need to be more intentional about my sleep. I may need to go to bed a little earlier. You know, I may need to have more patience with the process. That doesn't mean that I failed. It just means that I'm learning. I'm relearning myself, and maybe that's what the season is really about right now. Learning to take care of this body that God has given me, without constantly being at war with it. So that's where I am right now. But more than anything, I'm working on my mindset. I'm also working on not being controlled by fear. I don't want to be, I don't want to constantly expect myself to fail. And I don't want menopause to become an excuse for believing I can't live the life I want to live or do the things that I want to do. Yes, menopause had made some things harder, but harder doesn't mean impossible. And that's something that I'm going to keep reminding myself. If you're going through menopause or postmenopause and you're struggling with your weight, your energy, your hormones, your emotions, or if you're just feeling like you don't recognize your body anymore, um, you're not alone in that. I don't have all the answers. I'm still figuring things out for myself. But maybe that's part of why I'm sharing it, because sometimes we need to see somebody else in the middle of the process, not just after everything has been all figured out and they're just so happy go lucky. I'm still in the middle of it, and I'm still moving forward. I'm still learning. I'm making adjustments as I go along. I have my good days and some not so good days, but most of all, I'm trusting God through it. I mean, that's all I can do, and even that's a struggle sometimes. But I have to keep reminding myself and even praying about that. I do believe that He's already given me what I need to keep going. So I'm going to keep fighting the battle in my mind. I'm going to keep challenging those negative thoughts because they keep coming up. I'm not immune to them. They're going to keep coming up. I'm just going to have to keep fighting through them. I'm going to keep trying to make the choices that are better for me and reminding myself that one difficult season really doesn't define the rest of my life. If you're in a similar journey, let me know in the comments. Have you had to change the way you approach exercise or food during menopause or even postmenopause? And if you're dealing with HRT changes, I'd love to hear how you're navigating through this whole process. You know what you're doing, not as not as medical advice, but just as women sharing experiences with one another. I thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.